Hi, my name is Caroline Poland, and I'm the founder and CEO of Poland and Associates Consulting. Have you ever been in the process of behavior change and found that you got increasingly frustrated because the things that you're trying just aren't working? Maybe you've tried a new skill or a technique and you try it once or twice and just feel like it doesn't really help, and you put it to the side, but you're annoyed because you can't seem to find the thing that helps. Well, today I want to talk a little bit about the process of behavior change and connect that to some of the other videos that we've talked about with the nervous system and widening our window of tolerance and compassion fatigue. Connect that with the idea of one of my favorite hobbies, which is planting and gardening. With planting and gardening, I love the process of the hands-on approach to watching things grow and watching things change. You start out with this tiny seed or little seedling and you plant it with so much hope, and then you faithfully tend to it and take care of it. You water it, you give it the right nutrients and fertilize it, and you watch it grow and you watch it change, and it slowly becomes what it's meant to become as it reaches its potential. And I absolutely love watching that process, because plants and nature in general are one of the healthiest things for us, but B, because I think it really externalizes what happens internally as we work on ourselves. So 2 quick examples to externalize this. This year I decided to plant zinnias for the first time. They're a flower that I've loved for years, but I've just never planted it for myself. So back in April, I got little seed packet and I started to plant them and slowly watched as they popped out from underneath the soil, and I showed up for those plants every single day and helped them become all that they're meant to become. And now they're these beautiful, tall, strong plants with thick stems and beautiful buds, and every day I get to see butterflies and hummingbirds around them. But I couldn't get there all at once. It took showing up every single day and working on it and having the patience to show up with hope that what I was doing mattered. I engaged in a practice of patiently gardening and planting and providing nutrients to this plant so that it could become what it was meant to be. This plant that is sitting next to me, this is the 3rd summer that I've had it, and so winter's over inside. And this past winter, by January, it had lost all of its leaves and it looked just like a bunch of sticks sticking out of the soil. And I decided to have hope that though it was empty and I didn't know if it would produce anything again, I decided to continue to faithfully care for it and water it with the hope that one day it would come back to what it was meant to be. And then it warmed up and I brought it back outside and again fertilized it and pruned it and took care of it. And now it looks like this again. And I think that those are both beautiful metaphors to what we're talking about when we talk about working on strengthening that prefrontal cortex, widening that window of tolerance, implementing proactive steps to protect against compassion fatigue and burnout. Those things take time. And they don't happen all at once. And I think it's really easy when we try a new skill or new technique once or twice to just try it out. And when it doesn't work the way that we want it to work, set it aside and decide that that is something that doesn't work. We can't water seeds twice and then decide it's not working. It takes regular cultivation and tending and nutrients and growth and support from other people, just like we need support from a community to become what it's meant to become. So with many plants, and certainly with rose bushes, an important concept that we who garden understand is the concept of pruning or deadheading. We take away the things that aren't of value to the plant anymore so it can become all that it's meant to become. Author Dr. Henry Cloud, in his book Necessary Endings, outlines 3 rules for pruning and life in general that I think are really valuable and apply to our process of behavior change in general. So I think when we look at what we really want in life, again, maybe that's strengthening our prefrontal cortex or learning to stay within our window of tolerance when we have an activating event, or looking at emotions as cues and instead of having to react to the emotion itself, or protecting against compassion fatigue or burnout or secondary traumatic stress. The concept of pruning really applies there, because so often our life gets cluttered with the good but not great, or the things that just aren't going to make it, aren't going to allow us to become what we want to become or get to the goals that we really want to get to. Unless we engage in a regular practice of intentionally showing up and fertilizing what's meant to be fertilized and pruning what isn't helpful to us, we're not going to get to what we want to get to. We're not going to become who we want to become. And so that's why I love the process of externalizing what we're going through internally. It makes so much sense with plants. It makes sense with pruning and deadheading and watering and fertilizing, but that's really hard to do when it's internal and we're trying to build up new structures in ourselves. It's really hard to show up in our lives and water a seed for months and months, practicing new skills and techniques without the payoff that we really want to get to. But when we can hold on to hope that the regular showing up for ourselves and being present for ourselves and providing the nutrients and pruning away the things that don't help us, when we can regularly do those things and practice those skills over and over and build those muscles and strengthen those supports in our life and do that within the context of community, then we can get to where we're trying to get to. But it takes a lot of patience. It takes regularly showing up for ourselves, and it takes being engaged in the community. A plant can't do it alone, and we can't do it alone. So let me encourage you to regularly show up for yourselves with hope, with an idea that you can become what you're meant to become, but only with patience and consistent care, practicing those skills, being proactive, and having hope that what you want to become, you can become, but it's not going to happen overnight. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Poland & Associates, my website, polandandassociates.com, and make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on future videos.